The year is now, not some distant past, but now. Off the coast of Brazil, in a stretch of the South Atlantic, lies a region whispered about by old sailors, marked on unofficial charts with skull and crossbones. This is the Azimuth Eddy, our infamous patch of ocean, known for its erratic weather, sudden squalls, and a chillingly long list of disappearances. It's a place where the ocean doesn't just swallow ships, it erases them. Into this notorious zone sailed the Serenity, a sleek, luxurious, state-of-the-art research yacht. It was a marvel of modern engineering, equipped with cutting-edge sonar, meteorological sensors, and deep-sea exploration technology. But its mission wasn't to discover new species or map the seabed. Its true purpose was to definitively debunk the myths of the Azimuth Eddy, to prove that every vanishing was merely a tragic consequence of natural phenomena. Leading this ambitious, hubristic endeavor was Dr. Thorne, a brilliant, skeptical, and media-savvy oceanographer whose reputation was built on cold, hard facts. A small, diverse group made up the Serenity's crew. There was Captain Elias Vance, a seasoned, stoic old salt with a deep respect for the ocean's power, a quiet disbeliever in the supernatural, yet haunted by a family history tied directly to a disappearance in the Eddy decades ago. Then there was Maya Jenkins, a young, eager marine biologist, her mind buzzing with algorithms and data points, but whose sharp eyes were the first to notice subtle, disturbing anomalies. Alongside them were a tight-knit group of experienced technicians and a few wealthy benefactors, eager to witness science triumph over superstition. The Serenity steamed into the heart of the Azimuth Eddy on a seemingly calm, clear day. A global audience watched live, captivated by the spectacle of science confronting legend. Dr. Thorne, radiating confidence, lectured into the camera about currents and weather patterns. Then it happened. Without warning, the sky above them turned a bizarre, swirling indigo, not the color of a storm, but something alien, like ink spilled into water. The ship's instruments screamed, alarms blared, and over the ship's comms, overriding every channel, came a strange, low, resonant hum. It wasn't the sound of engines or waves. It was a deeper, more primal vibration, a sound that seemed to come from everywhere and nowhere at once. One final transmission, garbled and choked with static, crackled from Dr. Thorne's microphone. Her voice, usually so calm and authoritative, was laced with awe and terror. The light, it's a gate, the static, pulling us. Then, utter silence. The live feed went dead. The screen went black. The Serenity had vanished, seemingly swallowed whole by the Azimuth Eddy. The world erupted. A massive search effort was launched. An armada of naval vessels, Coast Guard ships, and private boats descending upon the Azimuth. They found nothing. No debris, no oil slick, no distress beacon. Just the vast, empty ocean, now eerily calm, its indigo hue faded back to a deceptive azure. The Serenity had entered the Eddy and simply disappeared. The vanishing of the Serenity, broadcast live to a global audience, etched itself into the collective consciousness, deepening the Azimuth Eddy's ominous legend. Admiral Harding, a man of rigid protocol and cold logic, oversaw the official investigation. He quickly declared the disappearance an unfortunate, unexplainable accident, likely due to a sudden, catastrophic structural failure. But beneath the layers of official reports and media speculation, baffling anomalies persisted, refusing to be silenced. Despite the lack of any physical trace of the Serenity, sonar from the search vessels began to pick up bizarre, fleeting anomalies on the seabed. They weren't wrecks or geological features. They were massive, perfectly symmetrical geometric shapes that would appear on the sonar screen for mere seconds, then vanish, almost like a fleeting hallucination in the deep. These phantom shapes were always accompanied by localized instances of the low, resonant hum that had plagued the Serenity's final transmission. Naval acousticians, baffled, labeled them unconfirmed atmospheric echoes. Captain Elias Vance, pulled from his quiet retirement to consult on the search, carried a secret heavier than any burden the ocean could bestow. His family history was intimately, tragically intertwined with the Azimuth Eddy. His grandfather, also a captain, had vanished with his ship, the Wanderer, in this very zone in the 1930s. Old family logs, kept meticulously over generations, spoke of similar strange atmospheric effects during his grandfather's last voyage. Eerie fogs, compasses spinning wildly, and a chilling singing from the depths. Elias still carried his grandfather's tarnished brass compass, a relic that inexplicably spun wildly every time he neared the eddy's edge. It felt less like a tool and more like a warning. Before the mission, Maya Jenkins, the brilliant young marine biologist on the Serenity, had made a secret discovery that would prove chillingly relevant. Using advanced deep-sea probes, she had found an ancient, incredibly rare deep-sea coral species thriving in the Azimuth Eddy's abyssal plains. This coral exhibited unique bioluminescent properties, pulsating with an ethereal light that mimicked natural electrical discharges. More unsettling, its growth patterns subtly formed repeating geometric shapes that, had anyone bothered to look at the fleeting sonar readings, would have been uncannily familiar. Her research had been dismissed by Dr. Thorne as an interesting but irrelevant tangent. A leading acoustician, brought in by Admiral Harding to debunk the hum, instead found himself profoundly disturbed. He theorized the hum wasn't natural at all. It was a precise, resonant frequency that appeared to subtly disrupt navigational equipment and, more unsettlingly, seemed capable of affecting the human mind, inducing disorientation, a profound sense of awe, or even a strange, almost hypnotic calm. He suggested tentatively that it could be a form of communication or a beckoning call. Admiral Harding, perturbed by the unscientific implications, dismissed the acoustician's findings as speculation and suppressed his report. But for Captain Vance, staring at his grandfather's wildly spinning compass, the pieces were beginning to align, not into a natural disaster, but into something far, far stranger. The inexplicable vanishing of the Serenity and the mounting, bizarre anomalies in the Azimuth Eddy began to fray the edges of conventional understanding. Captain Elias Vance, his resolve hardening with each unanswered question, knew he had to delve deeper into his family's cursed history with the Azimuth and the strange phenomena it harbored. His grandfather's tarnished brass compass, once a mere family heirloom, now felt like a living key. When brought near the hum zones in the Azimuth, it didn't just spin wildly, it vibrated intensely, and faint, intricate geometric patterns would subtly appear and fade on its aged surface, mirroring the fleeting sonar anomalies that had so baffled the Navy. It was a tool, perhaps, for reading the unseen. The breakthrough came from a source tragically close to the Serenity mission, Maya Jenkins' pre-mission research. Though presumed lost with the yacht, her meticulous deep-sea data had been automatically uploaded to a cloud server hours before the disappearance. Corbin, now working covertly with a small team of disillusioned former naval scientists, pored over Maya's extensive data on the unique bioluminescent deep-sea coral. Her final, unsent research notes, scrawled with frantic energy, showed a chilling correlation. The coral's geometric growth patterns perfectly aligned with the fleeting sonar shapes and the intricate patterns now appearing on Vance's compass. Maya had theorized that the coral wasn't just reacting to the eddy's strange energies. It was perhaps even amplifying an unseen, ancient energy source in the deep. It was like living antennae, drawing on something profound. Under intense, but discreet, pressure from a now haunted Admiral Harding, a remote-operated vehicle, ROV, was deployed to the very deepest part of the seabed within the Azimuth Eddy, near where the most frequent hums were detected. What the ROV captured in fleeting, distorted images sent shivers down the spines of everyone who saw them. An impossibly massive, impossibly smooth, and utterly alien structure resting in the abyssal darkness. It was clearly not natural. Its materials seemed to absorb light, and it emitted the low-frequency hum with an almost palpable intensity. This was the source, the dimensional anchor that Maya's coral had been amplifying, and that Vance's compass had been reacting to. The most chilling revelation, however, came from the encrypted log entries of Dr. Eris Thorne, salvaged from her personal computer before the Serenity departed. Her initial entries were filled with skepticism, debunking every legend, but her final entries, increasingly frantic and laced with a terrifying awe, indicated a complete and utter shift in her worldview. She had hypothesized that the deep-sea structure was not natural, but a receiver or transmitter for the hum, and that the light she had whispered about in her final transmission was not a natural phenomenon, but an energy signature, a gateway. She believed the Serenity hadn't crashed or sunk. It had been pulled through, a localized, temporary breach in reality, a warp in space and time created by the structure. Her scientific mind, unable to deny the overwhelming evidence of the impossible, had embraced the terrifying truth in her final moments. The Azimuth Eddy wasn't a graveyard, it was a doorway. The fragmented pieces of evidence, once dismissed as anomalies, now clicked into place, forming a terrifying, cohesive picture. The Azimuth Eddy was not merely a dangerous stretch of ocean, it was a threshold point, a naturally occurring anomaly in the Earth's crust or magnetic field, amplified and manipulated by the alien deep-sea structure. The hum, Dr. Reed's acoustic analysis now confirmed, was not just a disruptive frequency. It was a precise, resonant tone, a siren song from another dimension, capable of influencing susceptible minds and interacting with technology on a fundamental level. It was the irresistible pull that Ellie Vance had described in her last transmission. The true, horrifying scope of the phenomenon began to unfold. The structure and its resonant hum worked in tandem to create a temporary, localized warp in space-time, a swirling indigo vortex that didn't destroy vessels or individuals but transported them. This explained the baffling lack of debris, the absence of lifeboats or oil slicks. The Serenity hadn't sunk, it had been moved. Dr. Thorne's final garbled transmission, the light, it's a gate, pulling us, was not a cry for help, but a description of an unimaginable passage, a moment of transition from one reality to another. Captain Vance, driven by the revelations about his grandfather's compass and Maya's horrifying data, delved deeper into historical records. He found chilling patterns. Every major disappearance in the Azimuth Eddy over centuries coincided with peak activity from the hum and specific celestial alignments that would amplify the threshold point. His grandfather's disappearance had occurred during precisely such an event, a convergence of cosmic and terrestrial energies that opened the gate. A more terrifying realization slowly dawned. The disappearances weren't random acts of fate. It was revealed that individuals like Captain Vance's grandfather, or even the fiercely logical Dr. Thorne, were not simply victims of chance encounters with a rogue phenomenon. The hum and the threshold seemed to subtly target susceptible minds, drawing them in with a profound, almost hypnotic sense of awe, curiosity, or even an inexplicable longing. The disappearance wasn't a random event. It was a form of selection, an irresistible invitation from the other side. Those who resonated with the frequency, whose minds were open to the pull, were simply chosen. The Eddy wasn't a place of death, but of transference, a gateway to a journey without end. Admiral Harding, now fully understanding the profound and terrifying implications, ensured that this truth would remain buried, a secret so immense it could shatter humanity's understanding of its place in the universe. The official verdict on the Serenity's disappearance remained firm, a catastrophic, unexplainable event, swallowed by the vastness of the Azimuth Eddy. Admiral Harding, now a haunted man burdened by an impossible secret, ensured all evidence of the alien structure, the hum's true nature, and the threshold point was classified indefinitely, fearing global panic and the collapse of civilization as he knew it. The world would continue to accept the convenient lie, while the chilling truth remained buried deeper than any trench. Captain Elias Vance, his life now consumed by the Azimuth, became a recluse. His theories, deemed wild by the authorities, ostracized him from the maritime community. He moved to a remote, windswept house overlooking the very edge of the Azimuth Eddy, dedicating his remaining years to studying its anomalies. He meticulously monitored the sporadic reappearances of the hum, his grandfather's tarnished brass compass, his only constant companion. He often took his small fishing boat to the very boundary of the Eddy, feeling the subtle magnetic pull, understanding his grandfather's fate with a chilling clarity. He never truly recovered, living perpetually in the shadow of the unseen, a silent guardian of the threshold. Decades passed. The world forgot the Serenity, but the Azimuth Eddy continued its work. Sporadic, brief reports of the low-frequency hum continued to surface from the region, often accompanied by fleeting atmospheric distortions, inexplicable navigational failures, or bizarre equipment malfunctions on passing ships. These were always dismissed by official channels as equipment glitches or rare, uncatalogued natural phenomena. But for those who knew the history, these were not anomalies. They were echoes, distant whispers from the other side, reminders that the gate remained active. In the present day, a new adventurous deep-sea researcher, Dr. Lena Petrova, became fascinated by the Azimuth Eddy's infamous reputation. Dismissing the supernatural tales, she designed an advanced submersible, the Challenger, equipped with cutting-edge sensors to explore its deepest trenches. She was convinced the answers lay in geology. As her submersible descended into the abyssal darkness, its new generation of ultra-sensitive sonar detected it, the ancient, massive alien structure now faintly pulsating with a cold, ethereal light. As the Challenger approached the structure, a powerful rhythmic hum began to fill the submersible's cabin, resonating through its hull, vibrating through Lena's very bones. On her dashboard, a small, tarnished brass compass, passed down from Captain Elias Vance's now deceased family, a relative on her research team had brought it for good luck, began to spin wildly. Then it stopped, its needle pointing straight ahead towards the pulsating alien structure. Lena, mesmerized by the sheer impossible beauty of the light and the profound resonance of the hum, reached out her hand, a strange sense of longing overwhelming her scientific skepticism. A single, final transmission crackled from the submersible, Lena's voice filled not with fear but with a profound, almost spiritual awe. The light, it's beautiful, it's pulling us in, it's a way home. Then, utter silence. The Azimuth Eddy's disappearances were never about destruction. They were about a journey without end, an infinite swirl into the unknown, a perpetual motion through the Dimensional Eddy, Atlantic's other side. The threshold waits, always.